Hi, welcome into Running Miles with Congenital Heart Disease. I'm your host, Josh. This is episode 14, and this is the final episode. Thanks for tuning in. So, I went up and I raced the race of 100 kilometers, which is 62.2, I believe, miles. I completed it, not in the time that I wanted to. The time I was expecting to complete this race was, I guess, somewhere around 14 hours, which would have put me at about 13 miles, 13 minutes a mile is what I was thinking, you know. But I had to walk a lot of the race because my knees were hurting. They just wouldn't go, Every time I tried to run, I couldn't run. My knees just they were hurting too bad, and obviously I still had the bruise on the top of my foot, on both feet. But my feet, I don't think they were too much of a problem. It was basically my knees, man. They couldn't go, and it's crazy because it would have been like the perfect race if I was able to run at least, because it didn't rain until like 5 o'clock or 5:30, which would have been the 10-hour mark. So if I was just a little bit faster and I didn't walk, I would have. This would have been like the perfect race because it was a pretty nice temperature. It was 55, but on race day, the 55 did not feel like 55. It definitely felt more like 60 degrees. So I definitely overpacked, and I had a lot of winter gear. And I didn't need any of that stuff. I didn't even need a jacket. So I didn't even wear a jacket. But I would say that I did need my rain jacket because it did start to rain in the race at, like I said, in the 10th hour there. And I did not need the waterproof socks. I tried to put them on. Mile marker 53. I tried to switch my socks. They were definitely wet. But when I switched them, it just felt off. My feet didn't feel nice with them on, because they weren't really compression socks. They were just like waterproof socks. And I started to walk a little bit in them, and it just kind of hurt a little bit. So I switched back to my socks that were a little bit wet. I guess I could have, I did have an extra pair of socks, just my regular running socks, and I could have just put those on, which I probably should have. I don't think it would have made a difference, right? So I went ahead and just put on my wet socks that I've been wearing the whole time. And I could have switched out my shoes, but I just kept the shoes that I had on. And it was crazy because it was really dark, and it was foggy, and it was rainy. But the temperature stayed the same, so it was still 55 degrees. So it was actually, you could see better if you turned your light off, because when you turned your light on, you had your headlamp on, you could just see. You couldn't see in front of you. You couldn't see beside you. It was just foggy. So when you had your light on, made it worse. If you had your light off, that would have been a lot better. I was kind of like by myself in the wilderness. It was definitely really scary in a sense that, you're up in Virginia and you have no idea if there's like wolves or whatever, coyotes or something. Like you just feel like you're going to get eaten or something. Because you can't see anything. You got your headphones in. So you can't hear anything. You can't see anything. You just know that you got to stay on this path, right? So you're just going and going and going. Anyways, I think I would do some things different with my training. So, man, I don't know how many weeks it was. I should count that. But I feel like it was a lot of weeks of training. And trying to calculate, like I think I did like 6 marathons, 1 ultra in my training for this thing, and I feel like I definitely did too much. So when, I guess season 3, when I do this again, which would be next year, so you guys gonna have to wait some time there. I would say that I definitely overtrained. My training could have been, maybe 19 weeks or 17 weeks. So I definitely feel like I did a lot of training. And kind of shot my knees, man. It was more about the knees, but it was also about just trying to stay healthy. I really messed up on the last week. I think, I should have done the 15, but I don't know. I guess I know what I was thinking. I just did, like I said, did 27 the Saturday before the race, and that was pretty stupid. I definitely should have done less miles. And I had fresher legs, and maybe I wouldn't have been so sore. So definitely try to do that. But when I run this again, not this race, obviously, I don't know. I felt like it was the same scenery over and over again. For half the race. The other half, I couldn't see anything, so it was, but I definitely do a different ultra, I think, in a sense that hopefully, better scenery. So, yeah, I definitely overtrained. It went on for a long time, the training, and it kind of felt like, running wasn't fun anymore. It was just so exhausting, I think. Dealing with all the injuries and all the ice and the hot water, and it was just overwhelming, I think. And I don't know. So I think next time we are going to just do like, I think maybe 13 weeks or maybe 14 weeks or maybe 12 weeks. Because my best marathon was the first one, which I did in like 5 hours, right? So it was my fastest time, and I did it in 9 weeks. So I'm thinking like maybe 12 weeks. After that, do one more for, go up to like 30 miles. And then the week after that, do 15 miles. And then race your ultra. That's what, and hopefully you don't have any injuries and you're feeling great. So maybe a 12-week program to do an ultra. Maybe that's what we can do in season 3, and hopefully we can get a better time for sure. So Yeah, definitely would do it again differently. Would you change the food that I eat? Let's see. Good question, guys. Let's see. The food. I think I would add our experiment with some syrup or some honey. They got a lot of sugar in those things, and I think it might keep me going. So I think I would experiment with that. I'd experiment with honey, and I'm going to experiment with syrup. Natural sugar. So I think that might help with some energy. What I would say is that in the race, I never really had a problem. Well, with food, really, and I screwed up because I didn't eat my peanuts. I ended up eating what they had, which was like hamburgers and pizza, which was pretty bad because I hadn't been eating cheese, and then there I go eating some pizza. But I never really had any stomach problems, and I was never really that hungry, and I never really had any cramps. Even though I was pretty dehydrated because the race called for you to bring your own cup, and I didn't bring a cup because I didn't read that in the pamphlet, I guess. Which I have my own running cup that I always use to fill up at water fountains and stuff. Which would have been nice to have because then you know how much water you're drinking, right? So, but I would have to just bend down under the water cooler and drink the water that they had at the aid stations. And then one aid station closed because I took too long. So I went 8 minutes without water. Then I went did I say 8 minutes? I went 8 miles without water. I went 8 miles without water. And then there was a section I went 15 miles with no water. So it was, you would think that would really dehydrate you, but I don't think I was dehydrated too much. So that wasn't my problem. I guess because it was really cool out there and I didn't overdress, so I was just perfect, kinda, in a sense. I wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. So I'm sure that I would have been really dehydrated if it was like 80 degrees outside or something, right? So definitely you want to read the fine print with the races. To, if you're doing an ultra, to bring a water cup. If you're not bringing a water pack or something. But I'm sure most of you guys are bringing a water pack with you, so hopefully you don't have to worry about that. So I would say, anybody listening to this, I appreciate you listening to this. Definitely think I overtrained, so hopefully if you try to run an ultra, I would just say less is more. And wherever you are in your training, whether you're doing a 5K, 10K, a half marathon, marathon, or ultra, which is, once again, an ultra is anything past 26.2 or 0.4, right? I'd say do less training is better. Hopefully you can avoid injury, and hopefully your legs aren't overtired. So that's what I could say would get you the best results, hopefully. And I'm going to put it to the test this season 3, and we'll see what happens. See if the theory is correct. So, and if you guys do it, you let me know what happens with you. So, taking the step to do any race is hard to do. You guys probably, I don't know who's listening to this, but if you're set in the ways, or, there's some people that just never work out, which it's tough. Working out should be kind of like brushing your teeth, in my aspect, thinking. It should be just a maybe like a daily thing that you do. And I get it, guys. Let's see. All you really need to do is work out 20 minutes a day, and you're good, right? But I get it, okay? Maybe it takes you 20 minutes to get dressed for the workout. Get your whatever you need to take, like a protein shake, or you gotta get focused, and let's see, you're drinking your drink, and you gotta get mentally there, okay? So that takes you 20 minutes. Then you do a 20-minute workout. Then after the workout, you gotta go take a shower, right? And after the shower, so then it adds up for an hour. So the 20-minute workout is actually an hour's workout, right? And we talking about working out at your house, right? We're not even talking about driving somewhere. So even if you drive, if you have to get a club membership somewhere, and it could be far away. So you looking at another 10 minutes of a drive, parking, walking to your car. I mean, we could be talking about an hour and like 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, just for a 20-minute workout, which definitely would suck. So then it would be really discouraging for you to even, work out. I get it. I always try to calculate the time, how long something's going to take, but if you could try to cut that down, on getting dressed, showering, getting focused, try to, before the workout, your protein shakes or whatever you take before, your pre-workout drink or something. If you could try to cut down the time, maybe it's more doable, I would say. But, you kind of want to look at working out, whether it be running or lifting weights or yoga or whatever you do, right? All you really need to do is 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and you get all the benefits, So, yeah, I believe it's just like, it should be just like brushing your teeth. It should be just like taking a shower. Your daily things that you have to do are, that you have to do. It shouldn't be an option. You just should do it, right? And yeah, live healthier. But I know some of you set in your ways, and you're not gonna do it. But a lot of benefits if you work out. Just maybe 5 times a week, right? For 20 minutes. If you could somehow figure out that time and make a plan and do it. Okay. Anyways, let's go back to running. So I would say my number one tip from this whole podcast for running the ultra would be train less. That's what I would tell myself. And try that, I would turn my ultra into a 12-week program. Just because where I started, I think I said that I could run, when I started this, about 10 miles when I first started my training. And it's basically, you want to start your training from wherever you start from. So if the first day you can only run a half a mile or a mile, you're going to start that and work yourself up maybe 2 miles every week or something. So, yeah, but I would say less is better. That way you try to avoid some injury and overworking your legs. And it's time consuming. So that is the number one tip, I would say. Um, and you definitely want to eat good, and running is half the battle. You can run all you want, you know, and then afterwards go get McDonald's, go eat that chocolate cake, go get Burger King, okay, and eat that stuff, and you go back out there, and the run's not going to be that pleasant because I don't know. Now you might not gain any weight, but it's going to be hard to lose any weight. But I guess maybe you're fit and you don't even need to lose weight. But if you eat pretty good, it's just gonna help your running, so it's more enjoyable, and hopefully you can get faster. Unlike me, I kind of got slower, even eating healthy. But I think overall, I kind of learned how to eat healthier, and it's a long. Phew. My training was long, so definitely did all kinds of stuff, man. I was eating every vegetable under the sun, and I really didn't feel any benefits. So then I kind of turned it down to just kale and spinach with like meat. So I just had like a meat salad all the time, in a sense, which was pretty good. And I don't know, I felt good. So, but I did at one point, I was eating like red pepper, mushroom, carrots, beets, spinach, kale, I know there's some more. I know. What else? Man, I just had like at least like 9 different vegetables, anyways. And I would eat that, and it was definitely time consuming to make that. And then it didn't taste that nice. So, and then I didn't feel like I got that many, like I didn't feel different after I ate it, right? So kind of just discontinued that eating, in a sense, because it was just time consuming, and I didn't feel any kind of benefits eating all those vegetables and everything. And it could be because I killed them, in a heating pan. You probably don't get all the benefits from them when you do that. But yeah, I kind of toned it down to just kale and spinach. And then sometimes I would eat broccoli with some chicken. But those were kind of the 2 or the 3 vegetables that I kind of sticked with. I would say, and then a bunch of protein. It was definitely a protein diet that I had, and yeah, I think overall, I think that I'm healthier than I ever been, which is great, for running this. You'll get healthy because you want your runs to be easy. So, you definitely eat better. So I've learned that, which is a great thing, I think. And I can't see me going back to being how I was now. I think earlier in the podcast I said that I cut out dairy. And that is good, I guess. But I definitely will eat some cheese, I think, because it was really hard not to eat pizza. And it was really hard to eat chicken tacos without cheese. That is nasty. So definitely gonna put some cheese back in my diet. And I think in season 3 I will be eating some cheese. I will not cut that out of my diet. I'm gonna put it back in. And I probably tried to drink some almond milk maybe in season 3. And like I said, in season 3 we will be eating some syrup and some honey, and we'll see how that works in the runs. And we are going to try to do another ultra in season 3. So we're definitely going to be more prepared, I think. And hopefully this podcast can help you out. Maybe it can help you not overtrain. Hopefully it can help you not get an injury. And yeah, hopefully it can help you maybe change some diets or whatever you need to do. I'm sure everybody has their own diets, right? It's so crazy out there what to eat, what not to eat. Well, everybody's saying something different. I'm sure you could talk to like 20 people and they all tell you to eat something different. Oh, eat this, eat that, right? So, I mean, what I could say to you, I would say from my own experience that, your body, I feel like your body, okay, your metabolism, right, gets used to what you do, okay? It's going to adapt. So if you only eat 1,000 calories, then your metabolism is only going to work. It's gonna only work for 1,000 calories. So what I'm saying is, like, if you just have 1,000 calories, right, diet each day, your body is going to only be able to burn those 1,000 calories each day. So if one day you have more, or you have less, then you're gonna lose the weight, right? You have to eat like 700 calories to lose weight, right? So think about it. So if you bump your calorie intake to like 4,000 or maybe 3,000, right? Then your body gets used to that, right? So then you constantly have 3,000 calories a day, right? But if you bump that down, right, to like 25, then you're going to lose weight because your metabolism is already working. Okay, so anyways, what I'm saying is on days that you run, I would eat more. And then days that you don't run or you work out or something, I'd eat less. Whatever your diet is. I don't know what your diet is, right? So, and that's been beneficial to me, I think, because your body adapts to whatever you eat, and I would say to your metabolism. So, you definitely lose weight if you do that. And yeah. Now I never calculated how much I eat, but I eat a lot. I always I have about maybe 10 eggs a day, and I have I could have like 10 sausages a day. 10 eggs, 10 sausages, bunch of kale, bunch of spinach. So I feel like I eat a lot, at least. But yeah. Anywho, let's talk about my heart. My heart never was in any pain in the race or in the training. I always try to keep it at a nice heart rate, I would say. So that was never a problem, which is a good thing. My knees hurt more than my heart, that's for sure. They're still hurting, and I'm still recovering. But this is nice to just take a break from the running and trying to heal my feet and my knees. Okay. So yeah, and then I'll be able to get back into some F3 workouts, which if you don't know what an F3 is, it's just a workout that's all over the United States and all over the world. It's just a organization of a group of men that come together and work out. It's called F3 Nation, and you can actually go online and search it and then find a workout, and it's free. Yeah, what you'd want to do is just go to that website, search it, and then find a workout. You can just show up, and usually they're at like 5:30 in the morning or 6:30, but honestly they're all different times, and just about meeting new men and forming new relationships. So hopefully you guys will do that. Pretty awesome. If you are a girl listening to this, let me see if there's an F3 for women. So for the women, it looks like it's called FIA Nation. So I don't know much about it, but it looks like it would be like the F3 for men, but it's the kind of like the F3 for women. So just workouts that are held for women, and only women would be there. Now, I have no idea about transgender and all that stuff, and who's allowed, who's not allowed, and all that kind of stuff, which confuses me because I was raised in the 90s, right? So, but yeah, if you are a woman, those workouts looks like will be great as well. And usually the workouts are just in a parking lot or something, and you go running, or you do like push-ups or sit-ups or whatever's going on, right? So they're about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, nothing too hard. And it's, people are not going to judge you what you look like or something like that, So don't be too afraid to go, just regular people working out and just making new friends. So yeah, once again, F3 Nation is for the men and FIA Nation is for the women. So hopefully you check that out and try to go to a workout, see if that can help you prolong your fitness goals. Okay. And let's see, I think I've talked about everything. Just wanted to thank you all for listening and tuning in. And I wish I could have had better results for you. I wanted better results for myself, that's for sure. I definitely felt really bad about finishing in 18 hours. 4 hours off the mark that I was trying to run, but guess that gives me a better goal. Hopefully I can beat my time, right? I think anybody can beat that time. So yeah, we'll get a better time in season 3, and we'll do less training, and hopefully I have no injuries, and that would be great as well. And I'm thinking to do a race closer to September or October. That way it's a little bit warmer, because you know me, I don't really like the cold, right? So yeah, I think that would be better. Now there's a lot of people that like the cold weather when they're racing, because they don't like the heat, because they get dehydrated or they get cramps, right? So but guess a little opposite there. All right, well, this is a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have better results than I did. Okay, and I hope you can get something out of this podcast. Hopefully I said something that can help you out. Okay? All right. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next season.